After his grandmother's funeral, Daniel was given one final keepsake. An old frame family portrait that had hung in the ancestral house for decades. His aunt handed it over with trembling hands. "Whatever you do, don't uncover it after midnight." Daniel smiled politely. He thought she was joking. The portrait showed only 6 family members standing beside an old church. Nothing unusual. The next morning, Daniel nearly dropped the frame. A 7th person had appeared. An elderly man dressed in black. He had never seen him before. Hours later, television news announced the death of an elderly neighbor. Daniel froze. The man on the screen was the same man who had appeared in the portrait, wearing the exact same funeral suit, standing in the exact same position. Every dawn, the portrait changed again. A school teacher, a taxi driver, a young bride. Each silently joined the growing crowd. Each died before sunset. Soon the portrait became crowded with unfamiliar mourners. Every face belonged to someone who hadn't died yet. One morning, Daniel noticed something different. A young woman in the painting wasn't standing still. Tiny tears rolled down her painted face. She slowly lifted one finger, pointing behind Daniel. He spun around. No one was there. When he looked back, her hand was lowered. Near the front of the portrait, one place remained empty, perfectly shaped for another person. Daniel couldn't stop staring at it. That night, he dreamed someone whispering, "Tomorrow." At exactly 3 o'clock a.m. Daniel woke to footsteps downstairs. The portrait was hanging crooked. The glass had fog from the inside. A shadow stood reflected behind him. When he turned, the room was empty. But the portrait had changed again. The empty space was gone. Morning sunlight filled the room. Daniel slowly uncovered the painting. His heart stopped. Standing in the front row, wearing a black funeral suit, was himself. His face looked pale. His eyes were closed, as if lying in a coffin. Terrified, Daniel grabbed the portrait to burn it. Before he reached the fireplace, someone knocked at the front door. Outside stood dozens of strangers dressed entirely in black. None of them spoke. Each silently carried white lilies. One by one, they entered the house without permission. The strangers gathered around Daniel. One elderly photographer stepped forward holding an antique camera. "Smile," he whispered. The flash exploded. Everything turned white. Days later, police entered the abandoned house. There was no body. No sign of Daniel. Only the portrait remained. It now showed every funeral guest standing together. In the center, a frightened young man desperately pounded against the inside of the painting. His mouth moved silently, begging to be released. The frame slowly creaked. Then, one hand pressed outward from beneath the painted canvas.